Ladies and gentlemen, life teaches us lessons not just through what we achieve, but through the people we meet along the way. Some inspire us, some teach us, and others, well, they remind us of who we don't want to become. Tonight, I want to talk about something we all encounter, but sometimes struggle to identify: bad people and the signs they carry. First, let's talk about actions versus words. A bad person often speaks with honeyed words, but their actions, they'll tell you the real story. Pay attention to how someone treats those who can't offer them power, money, or influence. Watch what they do in the quiet moments when no one's looking. Their choices will always reveal who they truly are. Second, beware of the mask of charm. Some of the most dangerous people are wrapped in the most appealing packages. They'll tell you what you want to hear, make you feel like you're the only person in the room. But underneath that charm, manipulation and deceit are waiting. Remember, charisma is not character. Don't get blinded by the spark when the fire is meant to burn you. Third, look for the chaos they leave behind. Bad people rarely live in harmony. They thrive on discord, sowing seeds of doubt, negativity, and conflict wherever they go. You'll know them by the wake they leave, the broken relationships, the misplaced trust, the pain they refuse to take responsibility for. Lastly, let me remind you of something powerful. The best armor is self-awareness. What is it? If you know who you are, if your values are clear, and your heart is steady, bad people can't shake you. They may try to deceive or manipulate, but when you stand rooted in your truth, their tricks fall flat. So as you walk through life, remember this: bad people will always reveal themselves if you're willing to watch and listen. Protect your peace, trust your instincts, and never let anyone dim your light. Thank you. You can learn a lot about people just by watching how they treat those who can't do anything for them. This simple observation is one of the most reliable tests of someone's character. We live in a world where appearances are often valued over substance, where people polish their public personas to a shine, but leave their true selves hidden in the shadows. But here's the truth. Character reveals itself when there's no reward to gain, no audience to applaud, and no strings to pull. Think about this. How does someone act when they're speaking to a waiter, a janitor, or someone they perceive as less powerful? Do they show respect, kindness, and patience? Or do they belittle, dismiss, and condescend? These seemingly small interactions speak volumes about a person's nature. People who only extend their kindness upwards to those they think can help them are showing you who they are. They are opportunists, not good-hearted individuals. There's a difference between being nice and being good. Nice can be a performance, a tactic, or a means to an end. Goodness, on the other hand, comes from within. It's consistent, regardless of the situation or who's watching. A truly good person doesn't adjust their behavior based on the perceived value of the person in front of them. They treat everyone with dignity because they recognize that dignity isn't something earned. It's inherent to being human. But bad people? They reveal themselves in these moments of imbalance. They're kind to their boss, but cruel to the intern. They're generous with those who can elevate them, but stingy with those who are struggling. They'll lend a hand when the cameras are rolling, but turn their backs when the lights go off. And they often justify their behavior with excuses: "I'm too busy, it's not my responsibility," or "that's just how the world works." These excuses aren't reasons, they're reflections of a deeper truth. You see, bad people thrive in spaces where they can leverage power dynamics to their advantage. They're strategic in their kindness, calculating in their generosity, and selective in their empathy. But here's the thing: they can't keep the act up forever. Sooner or later, they'll let their guard down, and that's when you'll see the cracks. You'll notice how they snap at someone they think isn't important, how they manipulate others to get what they want, or how they turn their charm off the moment they think you're no longer useful. Here's why this matters. The way someone treats those who can't help them is a window into their soul. It shows you the baseline of their morality, their capacity for compassion, and their sense of justice. If someone only operates on the principle of "what's in it for me," they're not someone you want in your corner. Because when the chips are down and you can't offer them anything, they'll leave you stranded. This isn't about perfection. None of us are perfect, and we all have moments where we fall short. It's about patterns. Watch closely, and you'll start to see them. The person who habitually disregards others when there's no benefit to themselves isn't someone who will stand by you when it counts. They've already shown you their priorities. And you're not one of them unless there's something to gain. What can you do with this knowledge? First, take it as a reminder to reflect on your own behavior. Are you the same person in private as you are in public? Do you treat everyone with the same level of respect, regardless of their status or influence? If the answer isn't always yes, that's okay. It's a chance to grow. Being mindful of how we treat others, especially those who can't repay us, is a practice worth cultivating. It's not just about being good for the sake of appearances, it's about aligning with values that make the world a kinder place. Second, you use this observation as a guide for the relationships you choose to nurture. Surround yourself with people who demonstrate integrity in the little things. People who hold a door open to a stranger without expecting a thank you. People who listen more than they talk, who offer her help without keeping score, and who stand up for what's right, even when it's inconvenient. These are the people who will enrich your life, the ones who will show up when it matters most. Finally, don't ignore the warning signs when you see them. If someone consistently treats others poorly, believe them. Don't make excuses for their behavior or convince yourself they'll act differently with you. People are who they are, and they don't change simply because the stakes are higher. Save your energy for those who reflect the values you want in your life. In the end, the way people treat those who can't do anything for them is more than just a clue about their character. It's the essence of who they are. Choose to see it, choose to believe it, and choose to align yourself with those who bring light instead of shadows. Not everyone who smiles in your face has good intentions. Sometimes the sweetest smiles hide the most harmful intentions. It's one of life's harder lessons, realizing that charm and charisma can be weapons, tools used to manipulate rather than connect. The world is full of people who wear masks, presenting one version of themselves to the world while hiding another entirely. They'll make you feel seen, valued, and even special, but their motives are rarely pure. Understanding this distinction can save you from heartbreak, betrayal, and wasted time. Charm is a skill, not a virtue. Some people have an innate ability to draw others in with their words, gestures, and energy. They're captivating, magnetic, and often irresistible. But charm is not the same as character. Charm can be faked. Character cannot. A person with good character will align their words and actions consistently, whether they're in a room full of people or standing alone. But someone relying solely on charm may use it to distract you, to blind you to the truth of their behavior. Think about it. How many times have you encountered someone who seemed too good to be true? They said all the right things, laughed at all the right moments, and seemed to know exactly what to do to make you feel comfortable. At first, it feels amazing to be in their presence. They light up the room, command attention, and make you feel like the most important person in their world. But over time, if you pay close attention, the cracks begin to show. Your fear turns to anxiety as the counterpart does the same. Your premature departure cracks the crown for alternative management, crisis management, and provides anger. Maybe they're dismissive of someone who challenges them. Maybe they dodge accountability when things go wrong. Or maybe their charm starts to feel rehearsed, like a script they've perfected over time. These are red flags, and they should never be ignored. The danger of charm lies in its ability to disarm you. It creates a false sense of security, convincing you to trust someone before you've seen enough evidence to justify that trust. And once you're hooked, it's harder to recognize when you're being manipulated. You might find yourself excusing their bad behavior because you've bought into their charm. You might ignore the small inconsistencies, brushing them off as misunderstandings. You're definitely breaking your old memory, leaving the chaos of trauma and your conditions of pain. But deep down, you know something isn't right. That's your intuition speaking, and it's a voice worth listening to. People who rely on charm often use it as a means to an end. They'll say whatever they need to say to gain your trust, your support, or your resources. They're skilled at identifying what you want to hear and mirroring it back to you, but their actions rarely back up their words. They might promise loyalty but betray you when it suits them. They might offer help but disappear when it's inconvenient. And they might claim to value honesty but twist the truth to serve their purposes. Recognizing the difference between charm and authenticity requires a level of vigilance. It means looking beyond the surface and observing how someone behaves in different situations. How do they handle conflict? How do they treat people who can't offer them anything in return? How do they respond when they're called out on their mistakes? These moments reveal far more about a person's character than their ability to dazzle you with words or gestures. Another hallmark of someone who hides harmful intentions behind charm is their tendency to deflect or manipulate. They might use their charisma to shift blame, play the victim, or create confusion. They're skilled at making you second-guess yourself, at planting seeds of doubt that make you question your own perceptions. This is not accidental. It's a deliberate strategy to maintain control and keep you from seeing the full picture. It's important to remember that not everyone who is charming is dangerous. Many people are naturally charismatic and use that quality to uplift and inspire others. But the difference lies in their consistency. A truly good person's charm is supported by integrity. Their actions align with their words, and their kindness is genuine, not conditional. They don't use their charm as a tool for manipulation, but as a way to foster genuine connections. So, how do you protect yourself from those who weaponize charm? First, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Pay attention to the patterns in their behavior rather than being swayed by their words. Second, take your time to get to know people before placing your trust in them. Charm can be instant, but trust should be earned. And finally, hold on to your values and boundaries. People with harmful intentions often prey on those who are overly accommodating or eager to please. When you know your worth, you're less likely to fall for their tactics. In the end, the sweetest smile can sometimes be the most dangerous mask. Don't let yourself be blinded by charm alone. Look deeper, listen carefully, and trust your gut. People will always reveal who they are if you give them enough time. Believe them the first time. Bad people rarely operate in isolation. They bring chaos and negativity, creating waves that disturb the peace in every circle they enter. This chaos doesn't appear suddenly or without cause. It's often the result of deliberate actions, careless behaviors, or a toxic mindset that seeks to control, manipulate, or divide. These individuals thrive on discord because it allows them to maintain power, mask their true intentions, or avoid accountability. Recognizing the ripple effects they create is essential if you want to protect your peace and maintain healthy, positive relationships. Think of a stone thrown into a calm pond. That one small action creates ripples that spread outward, affecting everything in their path. Bad people are like that stone, but their ripples are not harmless. They're destructive. Their actions, words, and choices often destabilize relationships, environments, and even communities. They leave behind a trail of broken trust, unresolved conflict, and emotional damage, and rarely take responsibility for the harm they cause. One of the clearest signs of someone creating chaos is their tendency to pit people against one another. They excel at stirring up drama, whether by spreading rumors, sharing half-truths, or manipulating situations to suit their agenda. This behavior isn't always loud or overt. Sometimes it's subtle and insidious. A well-timed comment here, an exaggerated story there. It doesn't take much for them to plant seeds of division. Once those seeds grow, the ensuing conflict allows them to shift blame, deflect attention, or manipulate the situation further. Bad people often thrive in environments of uncertainty. They use confusion and instability to their advantage because it keeps others off balance and less able to see through their schemes. For example, they may create problems where none existed before, only to position themselves as the solution. This tactic not only boosts their own image, but also keeps others reliant on them. It's a cycle designed to maintain their control, no matter how much damage it causes. Another hallmark of someone who brings chaos is their unwillingness to take responsibility. They'll deny, deflect, or minimize their role in conflicts, making it difficult to address or resolve issues. When confronted, they often resort to playing the victim or turning the tables, accusing others of the very behavior they're guilty of. This creates a fog of confusion, leaving those around them questioning their own perceptions and struggling to find clarity. The ripple effects of their actions aren't limited to individual relationships. Over time, their presence can disrupt entire groups or communities. Whether it's a workplace, a family, or a social circle, bad people have a way of infecting the atmosphere with negativity. Their behavior creates an environment where trust is eroded, communication breaks down, and people feel more isolated or defensive. Even those who initially seemed unaffected can eventually find themselves caught in the fallout. One of the most damaging aspects of these ripple effects is the way they undermine your sense of peace and stability. Bad people thrive on creating emotional turmoil, leaving you feeling anxious, frustrated, or even powerless. You may find yourself constantly on edge, wondering what they'll do or say next. This emotional toll is not an accident, it's a byproduct of their actions. And it's often exactly what they want. Keeping you unsettled makes it easier for them to maintain control or avoid accountability. Recognizing these ripple effects is the first step in protecting yourself. Pay attention to the patterns in someone's behavior and the impact they have on those around them. Are they consistently involved in conflict or drama? Do their actions leave others feeling drained or upset? Are they quick to shift blame or deflect criticism? These are warning signs that shouldn't be ignored. Once you've identified the source of the chaos, it's important to set boundaries. Distance yourself from their influence, whether that means limiting contact, avoiding engaging in their drama, or, in some cases, removing them from your life entirely. This isn't always easy, especially if they're a close friend, family member, or colleague. But protecting your peace and well-being is worth the effort. Learn when to say no. Surrounding yourself with people who bring positivity, support, and stability will help counteract the effects of any lingering negativity. It's also crucial to remember that you're not obligated to fix or change someone who creates chaos. Their behavior is their responsibility, not yours. While it's natural to want to help or give them the benefit of the doubt, doing so often comes at the expense of your own mental and emotional health. Instead, focus on cultivating relationships with people who align with your values and bring out the best in you. In the end, the ripple effects of bad people are inevitable, but their power over you is not. By recognizing the signs, setting boundaries, and prioritizing your well-being, you can protect yourself from their chaos and maintain the peace and balance you deserve. Life is too short to be weighed down by the destructive energy of others. Choose your circle wisely and let your own ripples create waves of positivity, strength, and resilience. The best way to protect yourself from bad people is to know who you are. Self-awareness is your greatest armor in a world where manipulation, deceit, and toxic behaviors are all too common. When you have a deep understanding of your values, strengths, weaknesses, and boundaries, you create a shield that makes it much harder for harmful individuals to exploit or destabilize you. This isn't just about being confident, it's about being grounded in a truth that cannot be easily shaken. Bad people often prey on uncertainty. They look for vulnerabilities, moments of self-doubt, confusion, or insecurity that they can exploit to their advantage. They thrive in spaces where people are unsure of themselves, because it's easier to manipulate someone who doesn't fully understand their own worth. When you know who you are, you deny them that entry point. You stand firm, making it clear that your values are non-negotiable and your sense of self isn't up for debate. Self-awareness begins with understanding your core values. What do you stand for? What lines will you never cross? Knowing these answers gives you a clear framework for decision-making, especially when faced with individuals who test your boundaries. Bad people often push those limits, subtly or overtly, to see how much control they can gain. But when you're anchored in your principles, you recognize those attempts for what they are. You're less likely to compromise on things that matter, and you can confidently walk away from situations that don't align with your values. Another key aspect of self-awareness is recognizing your own emotional triggers. Everyone has them. Those situations or comments that provoke strong reactions, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration. Bad people are experts at identifying these triggers and using them to their advantage. They might push your buttons intentionally to get a reaction, distract you, or gain control of the narrative. But when you're aware of your triggers, you can respond rather than react. You maintain control over your emotions and refuse to give them the power to dictate your actions. Self-awareness also involves knowing your strengths and weaknesses. When you understand what you're good at, you can confidently lean into those abilities without needing external validation. And when you're honest about your weaknesses, you remove the opportunity for bad people to exploit them. For example, if you know you're someone who tends to avoid conflict, you can work on developing assertiveness to prevent others from taking advantage of your reluctance to speak up. Acknowledging your areas for growth isn't a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your willingness to grow and improve. Boundaries are another critical component of self-awareness. Bad people often test boundaries to see how far they can push you. They'll make small requests that seem harmless at first, but gradually escalate until you find yourself in situations you never agreed to. Knowing your limits and being firm in enforcing them prevents this kind of manipulation. It's not about being inflexible, It's about protecting your energy, time, and well-being from those who don't have your best interests at heart. Another benefit of self-awareness is the ability to trust your instincts. When you know yourself well, you can more easily distinguish between your own feelings and the manipulations of others. Bad people are skilled at creating doubt, making you question your perceptions, and even rewriting events to suit their narrative. But when you're in tune with your inner voice, you can cut through the noise. You'll recognize when something feels off, and you'll have the confidence to trust that feeling, even if others try to convince you otherwise. Cultivating self-awareness isn't a one-time effort, it's an ongoing practice. It requires reflection, honesty, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. But the rewards are immeasurable. The more you understand who you are, the more resilient you become to external pressures and influences. You start to see bad people for what they are, not threats to your sense of self, but distractions you can choose to disengage from. Surrounding yourself with people who support your growth and align with your values can also enhance your self-awareness. Positive relationships act as mirrors, reflecting back the best parts of you and encouraging you to stay true to yourself. In contrast, bad people distort your reflection, making you doubt your worth or question your decisions. Recognizing this distinction is crucial in maintaining a healthy sense of self. Ultimately, self-awareness isn't just a shield, it's a compass. It guides you toward people and situations that uplift you while steering you away from those that drain or harm you. It empowers you to set boundaries, trust your instincts, and stand firm in your values, no matter what challenges you face. When you know who you are, you become unshakable. Bad people may try to disrupt your peace, but their efforts will fall flat because you've built a foundation that can't be easily broken. Self-awareness doesn't make you immune to harm, but it makes you stronger, wiser, and more prepared to navigate the complexities of human relationships. It's not about shutting yourself off from the world, it's about stepping into it with clarity and confidence, knowing that no matter what comes your way, you have the tools to handle it. That is the power of truly knowing yourself.